All right. Hey there, y'all. Welcome to the Money Club. My name is Lisa Duke, and my guest today is Ruby Escalona. She is a mom, a blogger, and does all of that in addition to working a full time job. Welcome, Ruby, to the clubhouse.
Oh, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. You've got a beautiful tropical setting behind you there, so you can make everybody jealous of your glamorous Florida lifestyle.
Yeah, it's my in-laws' place, so
It's a nice place to visit to have that outdoor space. So, all right, our kind of theme for this group of videos is about earning more. And you and your husband each took a bold step to earn more early in your careers. Tell us what you did that most people don't do to earn more.
first thing I did was I moved from the Philippines and I moved abroad to the UK at first, and then I moved to the US.
Yeah, following the dollars, was that kind of part of the idea of where can I have a better standard of living? Where can I earn more? Or was it for other reasons?
It's mostly that and that fact that I am losing a lot of time is stuck in traffic in the Philippines. Like Manila is like very, very bad.
Don't move to Atlanta then. That's part of why we left. It's like an hour each way, going to and coming from any place you want to go. So, and then your husband did the same thing, correct?
Well, my husband was mostly brought by his parents as a kid to the
Ah,
US.
okay.
So he mostly grew up here.
Okay, so it's kind of second generation benefit. So, and then you were telling me before we started recording that you guys had done some things in your career as employees in order to increase your compensation. Can you tell our viewers about that?
So what we normally do is like well, I stayed at my old job for like almost 12 years because that was the one that gave me opportunities to go abroad
Mhm.
until such a point where they need to outsource my job, and it's kind of like in a gray area. And then I got this opportunity to move to another company, and then I negotiated for a higher salary.
Okay, yep. So that can be a really good way to raise your income as an employee. I know what tends to happen a lot of times, especially when the economy is really good, is the demand is going up. So the salary sort of out in the open market is going up. But if you're only getting a 2% cost of living increase, or maybe not even that, the existing workers who have stayed with the company can actually fall behind where the new people
Mhm.
coming in are. So every couple of years, kind of looking at where you are and either talking to your boss or maybe
Mhm.
putting your resume out. And has your husband done some similar things in his career as well?
So the thing with my husband was well, we worked at the same company at first. That's how we met.
Ah,
And
okay.
and then at the time his team was being dissolved, so
Mm,
it's either he would have to move
mm,
or he would have move teams or move
mhm,
companies.
mhm.
So for him, it's like, well, if I move teams, I'm gonna be in the same position. I'd rather try to look outside and then get like an increase and a promotion. So that's what he
Yeah.
did.
Okay, fantastic. So, what are some other things that you all, is there anything else from the world of employees, or should we move on to side hustles?
Yeah, well, for employees, I would think like look at your company's like benefits. Like
Mm,
some companies are open to like you getting promoted by moving to a different role. And
mm,
that comes like with an increase. So my husband's company allows that. Like if he sees, let's say, a higher position in like the same company, they're more than willing to give him a higher salary and a promotion if he qualifies and gets the job.
okay, yeah, that's a good tip. Another thing, and right now this might not be timely, but this video will be out on the internet for a while. When the job market is really hot, another thing that I know people have done in the past, and I imagine there'll be opportunities to do this in the future, is if you have friends that are job hunting and your company has openings, a lot of times they offer referral bonuses that if you bring
Hmm.
somebody in that the company ends up hiring, it's a one-time thing. It's not as good as a permanent salary increase, but that can be a way. I think because a lot of times as employees, we think, well, this is it. I just have to work for this amount of money forever. But there tend to be opportunities, especially when the job market is good for people that are resourceful and creative. So that's good. So what about now? I know we talked in your intro about the blog. Has that just been kind of a passion project and for fun, or has that been income generating as well?
It's mostly for fun.
Hmm.
We didn't really take it seriously until like we decided to like, hey, let's make a business out of it like this year. But I think it's a bad time because most of our content's about travel, and there's really no travel happening.
Yeah, I saw but it looked like one of your more recent trips was to Helen, Georgia, which
Yes,
for the viewers, if you haven't been, A, check out her blog post, and B, go. It's very weird. It's like a little bit of Germany in the middle of Georgia.
Germany. Yep.
It's so strange. So if you like that area and those kind of day trips, I know Mentone, Alabama is a cute little town. I would wait
Okay.
until it's hot and uncomfortable in Florida and then go. Don't go right now. But Mentone, Alabama, I went to school in Swanee, Tennessee. Monteagle, Swanee, that area is a cool little like day trip weekend getaway. So some
Mhm.
kind of similar. They don't have the, you know, quite as weird of architecture as Helen, but some cool little local getaways. And have you all been to? Sorry, we got off onto travel for a second, but have you been to Sanibel and Captiva?
Oh, so we've been to Sanibel like last month because we were running out
Yeah.
of places to go to, and we went to Sanibel for like a weekend.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite places in Florida, and it's one of those kind of lesser known. I think it's the best beach, and they have really good shells that come in because it's very shallow a long way out. But anyway, we'll go back to the money conversation, the saving money, not the spending money. But anything else you could think of that maybe you guys have done for money on the side, or that you have friends that have done that you've heard about that people might want to try?
Well, back to the employee side, like if you're
Okay.
an employee, if your company offers you an after-tax 401k contribution that you
Mm,
can like convert to Roth, do it. Because
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'm doing right now.
Okay, that's a very good tip. And I get a little exasperated when people don't put money into their 401k, especially if the company has a match. And I know, right? Like it sucks to have to take money out of your paycheck, but the money for that match is free money. Like
Yeah.
there's people are like, "Oh, what stock should I buy day trading?" Like there's no return that's better than free money. It's like
When you're
zero
vested.
risk. Exactly. Yeah, there's zero risk. So, but you have to be vested for a couple of years in order to get that
Mhm.
match, it sounds like. How long do you have to wait on that?
Well, I get 50% vested on my second year, which is coming up soon. And then my
Okay.
husband is already 100% vested. But his company does not allow the mega backdoor Roth. So he only
Okay.
does the traditional. And I have the mega backdoor Roth.
Mhm.
So we are doing that because, it's tax free after it gets converted to Roth.
Yeah, yeah. And that's actually something that I've not talked about that much on this channel. And I know it gets a little heavy and a little complicated, but kind of in layman's terms, if people are watching this and they're like, I have never heard about that, can you explain a little bit about how that works and why Roth might have some appeal versus a kind of a traditional retirement plan?
Yes. So like the what they call the mega backdoor Roth is like an extra 401k contribution. So every single 401k has a max. I think it's 55,000 for this year. So that 55,000 is the employee and the employer contribution. So technically the traditional 401k has a cap of 19,500 as of 2021. Then let's say your employer matches say 5% of what you're putting in.
Hmm.
For math, it's gonna be let's say $5,000 just for
Hmm.
math because it's
Hmm.
easy.
Right. Yeah.
So it's 19,500 plus a $5,000 match, it's 24,500. But the maximum that you can do is 55,000, right? So
Hmm.
that's where the mega backdoor comes in. So if your plan allows it, like they have a third like column or like row on your 401k contribution that says after tax contribution.
Hmm.
So like you could max it out. So how much did we put in? Like this say 24,000 max of 55. Let's say I'll put in another 30k.
Hmm.
So that's let's say your salary is 100k again, math.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I'll put in 30% extra of my salary and then 20% in traditional. And then like it all depends on your plan, but the plan is like it will go into your after tax 401k contribution, but then your let's say account like 401k what do you call it, company, like
Hmm.
in this case mine is Fidelity.
Hmm.
Fidelity automatically converts my after tax contribution the day after to Roth 401k.
Okay.
So
Yeah. And my under again, we're not going to go real heavy into this, but my understanding is that one of the big advantages of the Roth is you pay taxes on your income, you put money in your account, and then the growth, you don't have to pay
Yes.
taxes on it later on.
It's
With a
tax free.
regular,
Yep.
yeah, with a regular 401k, you put in pre-tax money, and then when you pull the money out, the money you put in and all the growth, you pay income tax
Taxes.
on it.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. So especially with you all, I'm going to assume you're young. You look young. And I guess young is a relative term, but if you are able to put some of that money away early, the vast majority of your earnings on that money by the time you come to actually pull it out very well may be the compounding. So you'll be able to pull that out without taxes. So if you guys are
Mhm.
watching this, you're like, I don't get it. A, Google, there's a lot of stuff out there. B, talk to your HR people. They may tell you to talk to the company that administers your plan if they're not sure. Talk to a CPA, right? Like get some specific advice related to your situation, whether or not it makes sense. But I think a lot of it is just sort of knowing that it's a thing, right? Like, okay, I didn't know that was a thing. Now I know it's a thing. Let me ask some people as to whether or not it's available to me and if it might make sense for my situation. So that's a really good tip. So any other suggestions you have for folks who want to earn more? Oh, you said you guys do real estate, right? Can you tell us a little bit
Yes.
about that? Yeah, yeah.
So what happened was like we got caught up in like the real estate craze 5 years ago, 5 years ago,
Mhm,
6 years ago, because like our rent was slowly going up and up and up. And then we're
mhm,
like, hang on, like this apartment complex that we're living in, while it's nice, they're charging us $200 more than if we bought a house.
mm, mhm.
So we bought a townhouse like as soon as rent, like they said we're gonna raise your rent by an extra like $200. We're like, no, we're moving out, and then we closed on a townhouse like a few months after that. So we house hacked essentially because we were just a couple, we weren't married yet, and we were living in a two-bedroom. So we're like, what are we gonna do with the spare bedroom? Nobody lives there much. We house hacked. We put it up on Airbnb at the time,
Ah, uh-huh.
and then we did it under the radar for like a few years.
Shh.
Yeah, because we had an HOA, right? So
Right,
you got to do
right,
what you got to
right.
do.
Yeah. But I guess, if you guys are living there in the space as well, then the guest is not going to get crazy, right? It's not like you rented out the whole place and they were having parties
No.
and people running around
Yeah,
making noise. If you've got somebody, you guys are trying to sleep, you'll quiet them down probably before the neighbors complain. So that may be
exactly.
maybe part of why
That
you
was
you were
before.
able to get under the radar. Yeah. So you were able to pay $200 a month less, go from an apartment to what I assume was a bigger townhouse. And then you got to turn that second bedroom into a stream of income, correct?
Yep, that was the first ever house hack we did. So when we earned enough money for that, we're like, hang on, real estate is fun. We bought a second townhouse. That one became a
Ah.
long-term rental.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And so you have a permanent tenant in there.
Yes.
Okay. So this is probably arbitrary and made up in my head, but I've done Airbnb. We had a lake house in Alabama near Mentone, which is why I was talking about Mentone. But that I was okay with renting out on Airbnb because you figure like people are coming on vacation, so they have to leave.
Mhm.
Right? Like they've already paid through the website before they come. When they leave, they have to go back to work. So I always felt more comfortable with that. And if they're terrible, they're only staying for 3 days or a week or whatever. But I've always been a little bit more nervous about long-term
Long
rentals
term.
because,
Yep.
yeah, if the person doesn't pay, then they're not leaving to go back to work because they either live there and work from there or they don't work at all, which is why they are having trouble paying the rent. So I know there are eviction laws and stuff, but to me, it's just always seemed a lot scarier. As somebody who has done both, do you feel like there's more risk of not getting paid on the long-term rental, or which do you feel more comfortable with?
Well, for the long term, we like it because we really vet the people who are gonna live in the
Mm,
place. And it's like we made sure that it's an A community. So like in the real estate world, you have like A, B, C, and D. Like
mhm,
we paid a little bit extra to make sure it's like a cheap place in an A area. Like good
mm,
schools, good environment, like gated community. We do pay HOA, but it's fine.
Okay, so that helps you attract hopefully the kind of tenant who has a job,
Yeah,
is
working class. Yep.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, how do you I mean, some of it's probably obvious, right? If you're vetting a tenant and they don't like pass a background check, the deposit check they give you bounces, right? Like there's probably some obvious red flags. But like if I had 3 people and they all kind of looked good, how do you know what you're looking for? Is it like did you use an outside service to do that or just like
Yes,
hope
so like there's a website called Cozy, and I
okay.
think that also does background and credit checks for you, but you know, you got to do your own due diligence because those background and credit checks only do so much. So what I
Right.
do is like I check like if they have like an online profile, then I really check
Ooh.
that. We ask for like bank statements to see if they're really getting the money that they they're saying
Wow.
they're
Okay.
getting.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good tip. So yeah, I have thought about doing long-term real estate. I see the appeal, right? Especially once that place is paid off, then it's just like making money every month. But I've always just been a little nervous to do it. And there is a learning curve, I would think. Would you agree with that? Of like knowing that there's A
Yeah.
properties and B properties and that cozy exists. And
It takes
so
forever, at least for me, but like other people just easily get it.
yeah,
And it
yeah.
also it like I didn't know it at first, but there's like niches that
Mm.
you have to like focus on. So ours is like buy and hold. So we buy it and then we hold it until we
Hmm.
pay for it and then that's it. Others have like you have flips, you have the wholesalers, you have the burrs. So we don't really want to do those things for now. But like again, we just fell into real estate by accident because of Airbnb.
Gotcha. And then you were like, hang on, we could probably do this on a long-term basis.
Exactly.
Makes
Yep.
sense. Did you are there any good, like, resources that you would recommend if somebody wants to learn about real estate investing?
I bought the Bigger Pockets books and I
Okay.
just lurked around in their forums when we were starting out.
Yeah, and
And yeah.
sorry, I was just gonna say for viewers, that's biggerpockets.com, and they have the forum, and then they've published some books on real estate investing. So and they have a podcast as well, correct?
Yes, yes. I binge listened to those when we were starting out.
Just, like, downloaded it all into the brain. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So all right, fantastic. Anything else we've missed kind of along this theme of earn more? Anything that you would like to share?
I would say I would try to start a business. Like
Mhm.
we are trying, well, the blog started for fun, but then we realized like some people are making money off of YouTube, off
Mhm.
of blogs, off of podcasts. So we're like, hey, we might as well do that. Like, because like it only started when I was pregnant. And I'm
Mhm.
like, what if I can't work anymore? Or like one of
Mm.
us cannot work anymore. Who's gonna feed the kid? We need to buy diapers. Like we need to buy, stuff for him.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like a big realization that I'm like, and we don't have enough money in our bank
Mhm.
accounts and our investments to actually be fire.
Right, right.
So while I want to be fire when I have a kid, age wise, it's not really possible
Right,
because
right.
if I waited too long, like I was in the Philippines forever, and even though I was working there, it's not enough like compared to when I'm living here. I'm spending more, but I'm earning more.
Right, right.
So I did not have the what do you call the advantage of actually people who are in college learning to fire and then I fired at 25. I didn't because I only moved to the US in 29.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, such a late start, 29.
Exactly.
No, but, we're all at different parts on the journey, right? So, I don't think I heard about fire until like maybe 2018 or something. And luckily we had already figured out, we had a mentor we worked with. We'd already figured out a lot of sort of the basic ideas of like we kind of went through the Dave Ramsey phase of paying off our debt. And then
Mhm.
we did start the business. We hired a mentor to help us out. I actually thought for a long time he was a business coach, but he's really more of a financial planner. But he was a mentor to us as well because he had started a business. And so, I think it takes a while to kind of get in the mindset and then to start carrying out the actions. But yeah, there's a lot that is possible if you start. And I think of them as kind of three different ways to invest, right? Starting in a business, you're investing your time and your effort into
Mhm.
something that, if all goes according to plan, will pay off down the road. Um, Real estate, same thing. You're investing the
Mhm.
money and the time up front, and then it's going to pay on down the road. And then paper investments, so like
Mhm.
stocks and bonds. So it sounds like you guys have done a really good job on the paper investments. You're getting started on the real estate, and then you're kind of exploring the business. And we did like the business first and then the paper investments. And I still don't know if I'm quite brave enough to do real estate investing, but maybe at some point. But I see those as kind of like the three things you could invest in. And I know those are broad categories, but
Well, I could add, if you're an immigrant to the US, you have to learn the financial system. That took me a year.
yeah, yeah. It is different depending upon where you're from. My husband's actually from the UK. Now, it's fairly similar. It's still English as a first language, but there were even things here like this whole credit thing. I don't know what it's like in the UK now, but he came in the 90s and he came to the US and he had no credit. And
Yeah, the
so
same here. Yep. We had
yeah,
no
it's
credit when
you're
we came here.
you're like a non-existent person. It's hard to rent a place, it's hard to get a car, even a job, they're like, "Why do you not exist?" So it takes a little while to understand why that's important and to, figure out the system. What were some other things that you found when you were kind of getting acclimated to the US financial system that were surprises?
Well, I didn't know what a 401k was. I didn't know what a
Mm.
Roth IRA was. Like, that took some time for me to research, and like even the HSAs, like I don't know what those are. Like, what are the tax advantages? Do I even qualify for these?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Well, and if it makes you feel better, I think a lot of Americans don't know that either. So you just somehow fell in with the right crowd and you found all of the fire blogs. What was kind of your like favorite blog or your gateway blog as you were learning all
the
this
thing is, I
stuff?
did not find it. It was me mostly asking, like, then my boyfriend, now my husband, like, how do I contribute to this? What is this? What is the tax thing? What is that? Like, and he was trying to
Yeah.
research for me because he doesn't like know how to explain it to me.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he found the Mr. Money Mustache.
Okay. Yeah. And
And
that's
then
kind
he
of
left it. Yeah.
that's the big one for a lot of people is like I found Mr. Money Mustache and then I got it. So viewers, if you haven't checked out that blog, it's great. I think his style maybe rubs some people the wrong way, but
Yeah, I don't like it as much.
yeah, yeah. But see, my husband's a software developer and Pete is a software developer, and I feel like I kind of get the humor. So a lot of like his like brusqueness, I feel like to me it's funny. But I know that's nobody's for everybody, but that's at least a lot of people's kind of like gateway in. They go there and then they're like, okay, I don't agree with Pete on everything. Let me
Yeah, the
go
same. Yep.
check out some of these other bloggers like Tanya Hester. Work Optional is her book, and Our
I
Next
like
Life is their blog.
I like
Yeah,
Millennial Revolution because
yeah,
they're
young
like
and
my
cool.
age. They're immigrants. They love to travel like us, but the main difference is they don't believe in buying a house. We believe in buying a place.
Yeah, yeah, they're Canadian, right? Or at least
Yes, they
most
are.
recently Canadian. They're kind of
They
citizens of the
can. Yep.
world, but Christy and do you remember what her husband's name is?
Bryce Shen.
Bryce. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
they're
Christy
very
Shen
cool.
and Bryce Leong. Bryce Leong, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're very cool people. So, all right, cool. Well, I know you've got a lot going on, and our viewers are busy too. So, tell folks if they want to learn more about your travel, or I guess you're not travel at the moment, but if they want to learn more about you and what you all are doing, how can people follow you guys?
So we have our blogs with an S.
Mhm,
So our first one is ajourneywelove.com.
mhm.
So that mostly focuses on personal finance, and 90% of it is travel and how we like travel hack the world. And then the second one is a niche one called Voyage Florida, which we just started. It's all about Florida.
Oh, cool. I should check that out because we moved down here a year and a half ago and like we were renting, we were buying a house, we closed on Valentine's Day. So literally like we got moved in, we got everything unpacked and then COVID happened. So we've been here now for a while, but we haven't seen anything. So I look forward to checking out some travel ideas. And even if you're not in Florida, everybody loves to come to Florida on vacation and get warm, especially in the winter. So, all right. And for those of you that want to learn more about me, of course, you're welcome to go to my Facebook group. That's the shortcut to get there is lisaduke.net/money club. Or if you're already on Facebook, you can search for Money Club with Lisa Duke. Just make sure you get the one that I'm in, because there's some kind of sketchy groups called Money Club. So you'll know if you get there and you see my stuff. And if you are watching the video, please subscribe to my channel, like the video, leave me a comment about whether or not this was useful, what questions you have, other topics you'd like for me to cover. And that really helps me out, because that helps make the video visible to more people and reminds you to come back and get more great tips as we continue our Earn More series. So, Ruby, thank you so much for being with
Thank
us
you.
today, and we'll see y'all later.
Okay, bye.